Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time. This time on the Kindness Project, pineapples, exercise, and we speak to Lucy Pattrick from Tapestry. Welcome.
No.
Why are you saying no? Why are you saying no? Is that because I want to go, welcome to the Kindness Project? Does that sound a bit weird?
Doesn't tickle my pickle.
It doesn't tickle your pickle. But I'll tell you what does. Pineapples. Because I'm joined by a girl who apparently on Instagram said her whole life is a pineapple. It's Charlotte Dames.
No, mine's was trash compared to that.
Oh, that was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, you've been looking at my Instagram.
Of course I do. We're Instagram buddies now.
And I'm joined by a man who works hard as much as he works out.
Oh, nice one. I've only just started working out again. That's the thing. So I am feeling incredibly tired from exercise at the minute.
Yeah.
And guess what?
What?
Went on a bit of a personal training marathon. Went boxercise and like jumping up and down and burpees for an entire week. Guess how much I lost?
Nothing.
I put on 2 pounds of fat. Not like I put on a bit of weight and it's muscle. No, I have accumulated 2 pounds of fat after exercising every single day. How does that happen?
Not a clue. Not a clue.
Guess what? My personal trainer was a bit confused as well. So I've got the scales. It said, you've put on quite a lot of fat. And he went, how did that happen? I was like, you tell me, you're the expert. I'm here
Lemon tart.
It could be lemon tart, could be wine. Could be wine. Probably a combination of the two. But yeah, I could not work out for the life of me how I'd managed to accumulate fat in a week that I'd worked really hard exercising, but we'll see how it goes. We'll give you an up-to-date on my exercise routines later, listeners. So, why is the whole world a pineapple?
Okay. Well, I was out with my friends, and we just at the end of the day we decided that we'd each pick one funny thing we said and make it our Instagram bio. And I found this thing, and it was like a stress thing. Yeah. And it was this pineapple, and I squished it, and I was like, "This is my life now." Okay. My whole life is in this pineapple.
Okay. Did it relieve any stress?
Yeah.
I'm never convinced stress balls relieve any stress. They annoy me, to be honest. They induce stress in my life, stress balls. So, your Instagram feed has inspired our question in the podcast, which is, what's your favourite fruit? And there's only one answer for that to me. It's not pineapple. It's not orange. It's not even apple.
You've just sacrilege. Orange is the most humble of all the fruits.
Humble maybe. The best, definitely not. The best has got to be banana.
That is why the banana is not humble.
What does a fruit need to be humble to be the best?
No, but I like oranges, they're nice.
Yeah. We've had this conversation before, but you know how I feel about fruit.
Bananas are the king of the fruits.
Bananas are the king of the fruits.
Oranges are the queens.
Oranges are like a rook or a bishop or something like that. When it comes to the chess rank of particular fruits.
What does that make apples? Just pawns.
Apples are probably the rooks. And then not even on the board, kiwis. Just like bang, kiwis.
Kiwis are the ones that you sacrifice first.
Yeah, exactly. Too messy, too difficult to get into. There's nothing right about kiwis. However, we'd like to hear your answers, dear podcast listeners, and you can get in touch with us at...
Sorry, was that for me? I'm a bit out of it.
You're a bit tired today, aren't you?
Okay, I'm trying to think. I can't actually remember what it is.
Oh, God, are you a joint host, or are you just somebody who comes along and puffs and blows a bit?
At Holler Kindness, there we go. I looked at it earlier.
Okay. Holler Kindness
What's on Twitter?
Is on Twitter. You can get in touch with us at www.facebook.com/Holler Kindness, or or you can email us.
Holla@thekindnessproject.co.uk.
Well done. Instead of the first answer, like, how do people get in touch with us?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm too tired to answer. So please get in touch with us and tell us, what's your favourite fruit? Should we get on with kindness news?
Oh, yup.
So, we've got kindness news coming up next, haven't we?
Yeah.
Do you want to do the little jingle?
Kindness news.
Awesome. What edition?
Socks.
Kindness News Socks edition.
Yep.
Okay, Kindness News Socks edition. Give us your socks news.
It's called "She's Using Kindness to Keep the Homeless Warm This Winter."
Oh, okay.
Michael Sullivan always said that if he were rich, the one thing he'd do is buy a pair of socks for every day of the year. So for his 72nd birthday, his granddaughter Kelsey Baxendale decided to make that dream a reality. At first, all she did was ask advice on Facebook on where to buy socks in bulk. To her amazement, she was inundated,
yeah.
with donations and soon had more than 400 pairs.
400 pairs of socks for her granddad.
And she wasn't the only one left gobsmacked by the kindness of
I'm
strangers.
gobsmacked by a sock gate.
Michael from Swinton in Salford couldn't believe his luck when he was confronted with hundreds of pairs of socks.
Can I just check? These are new socks, aren't they? They're not used socks.
That's alright. I don't need expensive presents or anything like that. Just something with a bit of thought, he told the men at the time.
Okay.
For some reason, men is spelled M.E.N.
M.E.N. Maybe that's the Manchester Evening News.
Maybe.
He told the men. He just told a bunch of random men. I only need socks. What are you telling me? I'm waiting at a bus stop.
Knowing that he didn't need or have the space to keep so many socks, Michael and Kelsey decided that once he had worn them once, they would wash them and donate them to the homeless.
Oh, nice.
So the act of kindness was passed on to those in need. Some of them have been used to make special Christmas comfort packs, along with other essentials like toiletries, gloves and hats, which will be handed out to those living on the streets by city centre-based charity Barnabas.
Oh, I love it. So somebody gave him 400 pairs of socks, which he wore every day. Yeah. He'd ticked something off his bucket list, have a pair of socks for every day of the week, every day of the year, sorry. And then he gave them to the homeless. I love that story. Yeah. Are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
Oh, cool. What do you think of that story?
It's good.
If you could buy X amount of stuff, one for every day of the year, an item of clothing for every day of the year, what would you buy?
A hat.
A hat for every day of the year? And would you always go woolly hat, or would you go...
No.
You'd mix it up?
I mean, sometimes it'd be a fedora, sometimes I'd have a couple of bowlers.
Top hat?
Yeah.
Top hat?
I'd have one of those weird hats that you always see Russians wearing in the movies.
Like a... I can't remember what they're called.
They're
but
fluffy,
yeah.
they're like
fluffy hat. I don't think the Russians call them the fluffy hat. I will have the fluffy hat. Anyway, let's move on to the next part of the show.
So, who are we interviewing this week?
This week we've got an interview with Lucy Pattrick from Tapestry. We talk about a bunch of different things, including the awesome work that Tapestry do. Effectively, Tapestry support adults leading to lead a positive, fulfilling life, especially elderly adults. And in the interview, we ask about where the name Tapestry comes from. Lucy tells us the stories that she's most proud of in terms of the work she does, and they do a lot of trips with a lot of the adults that they support in Tapestry, so I ask her a little bit about that. Shall we listen to the interview?
Yes.
Hi Lucy, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks, Chris.
Good. Firstly, can I just say a massive thanks for all the pens that you've just brought in. I don't know what I'm going to do with all those pens apart from give them to Louis, but I've got a feeling that I might need a bigger bag tomorrow as I head into London and hand out those pens. But thank you so much, I really appreciate that.
That's all right.
Yeah, good stuff. So I've asked you to come on and talk about the work you do, but before we do that, tell me a little bit about you.
Okay, so my name's Lucy. I'm going to be 40 years old this year.
How are you feeling about turning 40?
I've got mixed feelings. Everyone keeps saying to me, what are you going to do, what are you going to do? And I'm like, nothing, I don't want to like make a big deal out of it and things like that. But now I'm feeling a bit regretful about that because all of my friends have started to turn 40. Like I see them doing all these things on Facebook and that, and I'm like, maybe I should have organised something, but I haven't.
No. So it's just another year, isn't it? It's just another year.
I won't add any more on after this year. Apart from that, yeah.
You know what, I think, because I'm in a similar boat, so I turned 40 last year, and I'm quite relaxed about it, actually. I'm quite enjoying being 40. I don't think there's a big difference.
No, I mean, one of my friends, she writes like a blog, and she did this thing, 40 things she wanted to do in her 40th year.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I haven't got time for that.
Well, listen, if you're too busy to do the stuff like that, then something must be going right? Yeah. Okay, and so you're 40, what else about you?
I've got one son called George.
Okay. How old's George?
13.
Okay.
And then I've got 3 inherited children from my partner.
Okay.
And they go from 9 to 18.
Okay, cool.
So it's busy around our house at weekends and things like that.
Yeah. So who's the noisiest in your family?
Oh, it's a toss-up between the 2 younger ones, Evie and George, and especially when they're together, they are like, although they're not proper brother and sister, they're like proper brother and sister, like always like teasing each other and, so yeah, when them 2 are together.
Cool.
Apart from that, probably the cat's the noisiest.
See, I wouldn't go for cat. We're definitely a dog family. But I seem to have been given the unenviable task of walking the dog. Now the weather's better, so it's not my dog, it's the kids' dog, but I'm now getting the job of just walking it every day. But I quite enjoy it, to be honest. So I know you work for Tapestry.
I do.
Help me understand a little bit more about what Tapestry do.
Okay, so obviously our name doesn't really say what we do.
Yeah.
So we're actually... we were established in 1949 as Havering Older People's Welfare Association.
Okay.
So that gives you an idea of what we do. So we help older adults in Havering to lead positive and fulfilling lives.
Okay.
And we specialise with helping people that have been diagnosed with dementia and are living with dementia and their carers as well. Yeah. The progression from being Havering Older People's Welfare Association to Tapestry, as over time what happened was we became Age Concern Havering.
Okay.
Then when Age Concern and Care UK joined together and become Age UK, all of the age concerns were asked if they wanted to go in with it or they wanted to be an independent charity. Gotcha. So we decided to go independent because we wanted to stay within Havering and we couldn't have done all the things we do if we'd have gone with...
Locally, right?
Yeah, locally. Gotcha. So we got to keep the name for 2 years and then we had to rebrand.
Okay. Well, why Tapestry?
Well, we had focus groups with clients and staff and things like that, and it's a bit like Apple. It's got nothing to do with technology, but it's a synonymous brand. Okay. So Tapestry was picked. Okay. And the idea behind it is like all of the services we offer are like the threads. Okay. And then you weave them together with people's existing support networks like family, things like that. Gotcha. And then when you weave it all together, it becomes a tapestry. Gotcha.
So it's understanding how people are connected already, but also being part of that connection process to build a tapestry of support. Yeah, because
everything we do is person-centred around individuals. Yeah. So it's like tailor-made to them. So you know, once you put it all together, you get a big tapestry.
Love it. When I started looking at your website, actually, the word tapestry only made me think of that Carole King album, which is an awesome album, by the way. But yeah, that's the only sort of other occurrence I'd heard Tapestry used for. But
yeah, and funnily enough, because I wrote down a bit out of the song, so it's like, my life has become a tapestry of rich and royal hue, an everlasting vision on the ever-changing view.
Listen, you've done your research.
Exactly. That sort of sums up what we do as well, because once somebody gets a diagnosis of dementia, their life changes.
Gotcha.
And they have to adapt and and do things differently to continue living independently. If you want.
Yeah. No, fair enough. So, just help me understand, Tapestry UK, you mentioned you work with individuals with dementia, plus others.
Yeah.
So who do you help?
Well, basically, anyone over 55 in Havering, or anyone that's considered an older adult.
Okay, is 55 old now? Because that's a bit scary as a 40-year-old.
We're open to anybody that's... Because the thing is now, there are a lot more people being diagnosed with dementia a lot younger.
Yeah,
so,
gotcha.
you know, some early onset cases can start in their 50s.
Yeah.
So... You know, we sort of say 55 plus, but I'd say majority of our clients are 65
older
plus.
Yeah, gotcha. And is it specifically dementia sufferers, or is it across a wider range than that?
It's anybody really that needs help, like especially if they're becoming socially isolated.
Gotcha.
You know, to help them get out and about, become more independent. So, you know, when people start not to be able to drive or being unable to use public transport, then we'll help them apply for taxi cards or dial a ride, things like that.
Yeah. And how does somebody practically get your help? So what process do they need to follow?
Well, it depends what service they want, but I mean, on our website, and you can just ring us.
Okay. So if somebody phones up and says, I'm struggling a bit, I need your help, what's your next steps with them?
Well, we have like an information and advice team, so come through to them. They'll find out what it is that you want help with. So obviously we do coach trips to get people out and about. We have the dementia advisory team. We run that for London Borough of Havering. So they can help with all sorts of things. Like even if it's as simple as someone saying, I think my mum's got dementia, how do I get them diagnosed? Things like that, practical.
So if somebody goes to the council to support, they'll actually point them in the direction of you?
Once people get diagnosed with the memory clinic or the GP, they get referred on to us, and they get a dementia advisor that's there for the family and the person living with dementia.
And how do you train your dementia advisors? It's quite a specific job, isn't it?
Yeah, we have to. I actually, because I've worked for Tapestry for 7 years, I actually did a year on the dementia advisory team. And there's lots of training involved. I've been on lots of courses on like dealing with challenging behaviour. Also things to help you understand what it's like to live with dementia. And how your world changes, and to try and see it from their point of view kind of thing.
So help me understand then, what was the things that you assumed before you started learning about dementia that now you think, I can't believe I thought that before?
Well, loads of things. I mean, like, dementia it's quite a broad spectrum. So with lots of things, people always, when you say dementia, people automatically go, Alzheimer's.
Gotcha.
But there's around about 7 different types of dementia. And they affect different types of your brain. They act differently. So, for example, Alzheimer's is quite slow progressing, and people sort of, it's a slow process. And with vascular dementia, it sort of like goes in steps. So you're on an even keel for a long time, and then you go dip down quite a bit, and so you see more dramatic changes with vascular dementia.
And that happens why? Where's science in terms of understanding the causes of dementia?
Well, lifestyle has a lot to do with it. So many people now that you see maybe being diagnosed younger, It could be to do with alcohol consumption.
Okay.
Very often it's that they've had an alcohol or a drug problem when they were younger.
Yeah.
The sports you play, so people that play
head injuries,
contact sports and receive head injuries, like vascular dementia is mostly connected to head injuries and strokes and things like that, because it's trauma to the brain.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
I see.
Yeah, I learned lots of different things doing my training to be a dementia advisor, which although
just didn't know.
Although I'm a marketing manager now, it means I can go out and talk about what we do with a little bit more in-depth knowledge.
And that's important, right?
Yeah, I think that's really important.
I think it is. Now, I know you run some trips as an organisation. Who are they for and how do they typically work?
Well, with our coach trips, they are, I would say, for the more active elderly.
Okay.
Yeah. So those sort of things. I mean, and we don't say you've got to be like 55 to go on one of our coach trips, because obviously people might bring carers or other family members, things like that. So they're sort of open to anyone.
Okay.
And they're big coaches. They leave from the Queen's Theatre. They pick up at a set time and then they come back at a set time. And they're sort of like, they take you to the destination, drop you off, and then you do your own thing.
What sort of places do you go?
Lots of different places. So we do shows and stuff. So we do shows up to Westcliff Pavilion.
Okay.
We've done like West End shows as well. Mainly like seaside towns like Brighton, Eastbourne, Broadstairs. You know, and it's. We do lots of trips throughout the summer, and then we try and find winter ones, so sometimes like Dickens Festival, things like that.
Weirdly enough, I've been to that Dickens Festival and I've got a story to tell you, right? So we went to it accidentally. We went to Broadstairs while it was on. It was Broadstairs, isn't it? Yeah. So we'd been to Margate, took Charlotte and Sophie on the beach. And I was really disappointed because as a kid, I remember Margate as being one of the places you go. And I don't think it's that good now, to be honest. It's a bit sort of run down, I think is the polite way to put it. So anyway, we got back in the car, went down to Broadstairs, got out the car, and there's loads of people dressed in Victorian dress celebrating, because is it Bleak House or something that's
I
that's
think
there?
so. I know that they have it, because at Christmas they do like a Dickens thing as well.
Anyway, so wandering down the promenade, boiling hot day. I don't understand how people was wearing all these Victorian clothes, but really enjoying the experience and looking at that. Sat by the bandstand, listening to the music for a little while, and suddenly there was a cannon that went off, right? Because apparently on Dickens Day in Broadstairs, they set this cannon off 3 times to celebrate, but it was a really hot day and they did it over the beach. And there was people coming up going, I was just about to bite into my burger on the beach and I got frightened by cannon fire attacking me from the thing. I don't think they were particularly happy about Dickens Day, but I enjoyed it, so really that's all that mattered. But just imagine sitting on a beach and then finding like a Victorian cannon being fired at you. It wasn't it was a bit of a weird thing. So Broadstairs is one. Where else have you are you going?
I can't think off the top of my head the exact destinations.
Any involving cannons or?
No, none involving cannons. I know they're doing Brighton, and we've just done the House of Commons.
Okay, cool.
And people went on a tour around the House of Commons.
That's a really good trip, actually. Did you go?
No, I haven't been on that one. I'd like to do that.
Yeah, it's good.
And that's like, because we rely a lot on volunteers within the organisation. So we're always looking for volunteers to take coach trips out, which is quite good because you get a free day out as well.
Gotcha.
What you've got to do is tick people on and tick them back on the way home.
And make sure they're all right.
Everyone. And you get a nice day out. So
that sounds good. And where do those volunteers come from? They just come from the local community, or?
Yeah, I mean all over Havering and. Very often, like, we try and partner with local businesses as well.
Gotcha.
And sometimes they'll give us staff, or like for example, a few of the Nationwide Building Society and Nando's are having refurbishments in Hornchurch.
Okay.
And while they're being refurbished, they're going to give us staff to come and volunteer with us.
That's an awesome idea. That's a great idea. So paying them and they just come along and help you guys out while they're getting the store done. Yeah. I love that idea. That's really good.
So while they've got like 2 days where they can't physically do anything within the business, they're going to come out and help us do stuff. Idea. So that's really good.
How much? So I had an interview with Tracy Walsh from East London Community Foundation the other day. She was talking about some of the work they do for older people to combat loneliness. How important are those trips just to get people out and about, meeting new people and just socialising?
All of those things are really important because we also have like wellbeing centres that people can go to for the day, and they do activities and lunch and breakfast and like just to be at. Sometimes it's the only time that person goes out in a week.
I know.
And it's like their lifeline, so they rely on it. You know, and it's like when it's a bank holiday Monday, we try to, if anyone comes in on Monday, we'll change their day for the week so that they still get to come out.
Gotcha.
Just because it's a bank holiday for the
you want
the
to
world.
Make sure. You want to make sure they're looked after. I get that. And tell me a story. So tell me a story about the.
I think I'm most proud of working with Tapestry. I think it's the people that give their time to us for nothing. Okay. So I think without our volunteers, you know, we wouldn't be able to operate the way we do. Okay. Because, you know, especially at the wellbeing centres, like volunteers do all the tea and toast, and you know they help with activities. They at the wellbeing centres, like we have a team of volunteers that meet and greet people at the front door. Okay. You know, just people that go around and chat to the people in the centre during the day, and also our staff, because I think in social care, carers like they do home care and things like that, they get a bad. So when you see things in the media about carers abusing older people,
it's always the worst examples, isn't it?
And they do. There's hundreds and hundreds of them that do a fantastic job and go out of their way to do things for people that aren't even included in their job role. And I think those people, and they're, you know, when you're talking about kindness, they're some of the kindest people you'll ever meet.
You know what, I absolutely agree, and I think one thing we try and do on the Kindness Project is just highlight how awesome people are. The reality is, for whatever reason, the news is primarily negative, isn't it? It's the rubbish stuff that goes on in the world. And I reckon I probably live my life with rose-tinted glasses on a bit, but I think that, as you say, most people are generally pretty good. So it's interesting. You mentioned about the wellness centres. Tell me a little bit more about them.
So we've got 2 wellbeing centres. One's in Hornchurch, so people from they serve like a 3-mile radius. So people from Rainham, Upminster, Cranham, and that side of Havering can go to that one. And then we have one in Harold Hill, so they do Romford, Collier Row, and that side. And then what people can do is they go along for the day. We have minibuses that will pick people up if they don't have...
From home?
Yep, from home. Cool. If they don't have any way of getting to the centre. And then they can come for the day, and we do tea and toast. There's lots of food involved. Tea and toast.
Food's always good.
Yeah, from 9
now,
to
Lucy,
11.
you've listened to the podcast, right? And we were doing some recording yesterday, and we realised we talk about food virtually every week. And I said to Charlotte, we need to stop talking about food, because that's like... Food, being food related is always a good thing, right? You know, it's not the end of the world. So what other food?
What food do you get?
What food do you supply?
We do. So
I mean, you might persuade me to volunteer if you keep on talking about the food.
well, yeah. The food services team, they cook the food every day. It's nice and fresh. So we have tea and toast from 9 to 11.
Yeah.
You can have a full 3-course meal at 12 o'clock
Cool.
for a mere £7.
Good.
And that's like homemade.
So that was a decent interview, wasn't it?
Yes.
And we've got more from Lucy next week.
Yeah.
'Tis the end.
Tis the end!
I thought I was doing 'Tis the end.
No!
Never. 'Tis
I
the
shall
end.
never relish my spot to you. It's fine.
'Tis the end is my thing, not your thing. But
Get
it's
your own thing.
get your own thing.
Get your own thing, Barry.
Oh, all right, Beryl. So it is the end of another podcast, but we have got to do the traditional thing because the end is never the end. The end is merely the opportunity.
A new future.
Gateway to a new future, but also the opportunity to share some of the answers to our question of the podcast.
Did anyone put us?
Yeah.
Hello.
So the question of the podcast was, what's your favourite podcast? And we got a bunch of different answers. Alistair Walker said, it's got to be Heavyweight. Hilarious at times, but 100% endearing and sensitive to the stories it tells. Only very nearly pipped to the post by Reply All. Gimlet Media really have this podcast thing cracked. Now, I've been listening to a lot of these podcasts, and I've got to say, Heavyweight is a pretty decent podcast. It's about people who are who have lost connections in families and lost connections to friends, and the presenter then tries to make those connections again, starting with his dad and his brother who hadn't seen each other for donkey's years and had a bit of resentment together. It was an awesome first episode. Sue Nolan said Dirty John, which is about a con man who cons quite a successful interior decorator out of a lot of money, and it's a story full of twists and turns. Richard Earl said he doesn't know how to listen to a podcast, but don't worry. That's for me. How dare you? But I've taught him now. He knows how to listen to a podcast, so he's fine. Pete Matthew loves My Dad Wrote a Porno, which is about a man whose father wrote a book of erotic fiction. Now, can I make you a promise? I'm never going to do that.
You listened to it. You listened to it.
I did listen to it, and it is hilarious. But I'm never going to write a book of erotic fiction. Just want to make that clear.
You never know.
I may do in the future. Nanny Bob said, I'm still halfway through the Kindness Project book, let alone anything else. Roberta White, Bobby said, our podcast, she loves it. So somebody did say us.
You.
And John said, as a contributor, I'm morally disbarred from choosing the Kindness Project. No, you're not. You can pick it if you want. Are you going to pick it? We'll wait.
We'll wait.
Have you picked it yet? Have you picked it? So the others he likes are Wittertainment, which is a movie show. I'm a fan of that too. And some true crime ones. Slaughter, All Killer No Filler, and My Favourite Murder.
If you want more crime ones, can I suggest Detective? It's really good.
You like Detective? Yeah. Is that a murder related one?
Yeah, in the first season of it,
Right.
it kind of describes motives for murders, like
Okay.
sex, money, revenge.
Sounds interesting.
It does.
Cool. Okay, and that is all our answers. So until next week, we are done with the Kindness Project.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.